Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Sideline Debrief. Coming at you again, Jamie, with my partner in crime, Ethan. Today, we're continuing on with our themes of covering keep, sell loans for top teams in Europe. This is going to be the second episode in the series after covering, or third episode in the series after covering Leeds and Spurs previously, because that's where our knowledge base is. We've gone to the first other league, which is going to be Serie A, which we introduced in the last episode. This week we're going to be going over. Ethan will be diving deep into Roma, and I will be diving deep into Napoli. We're going to look at the players that could be leaving, players that they should be holding on um, with everything they have, and players who, I mean, they're just squad players, so just keep them.
Yeah.
We've got about 20 names from each team that we're going to go through here, and then at the end of the episode, we're going to pick the next league we're going to go into and those teams associated with it. So, all right, I'll let you start at the top with Jose Mourinho's Roma.
All right. I did go a little too deep with this. I listed every single all the 26 players, but I'm not going to mention all of them. There's no need to. Um, I want to start with three. I want to say the three goalkeepers real quick, just because there's only three. They're just easy to go over real quick. Rui Patricio. I'm saying keep. He only has a year left on his contract. Even if he's sold, it won't be for much. He's going to be 37 by the time that he leaves, but he's the most experienced on the team. It gives him another year to look for another option when it comes to goalkeeping. So I just say keep. Then we have Miles Suler, who is young, and he also has no rumors, and he has some experience, so he could be the future backup. And Petru. Some of these names I'm not butchering on purpose. Pietro War. I just said keep long. He's very young. He only has U19 experience. I just say put him on loan. Now
Okay.
going on to the main defenders. Starting off with Roger Ibanez, who has many rumors. Some are actually linked with Spurs.
I don't want him, but
You do want him?
I don't.
Oh, okay, good, because I said keep.
He's like another Dyer Sanchez.
I said
Mm.
keep. He's the most expensive center back that Roma have. Um, he does have rumors to Aston Villa as well, but I said keep. He's very young. He's very solid. He's just been there all season. He has his moments, but based on value, he's the most expensive one. So I'd say maybe give him another year, go up in value, then sell him. But running into the Europa League, and the only center back coming in is Diego Llorente, I would say keep, so that way you don't have to rely on.
They just signed Ndika.
Yeah, that's what I'm moving on to next.
Mm.
Um,
Well, you're going to keep because they just signed him.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
Evan
but you
Ndika,
said the only center
keep,
back they're
just signed
bringing
for
in.
Eintracht
Yeah.
Frankfurt. Yeah. Um,
Mm.
and then Gianluca Mancini, I said sell. I believe he's 27. He can make upwards of 30 million on the market. Um, just starting to age. He didn't have the best season last year. I would say sell, get 30 million out of him, and maybe use that money on spread out throughout the team, or just get another solid center back for that amount of money. That's a little older. And then Chris Smalling, I just said keep. He's not very old. Sorry, he's 33, but he was consistent all season. He kept quality. Just ran out of steam towards the end, but that's fine. Moving on to left backs, we have Leonardo Spinazzola. He is very experienced left back. The only offer he has is from Saudi Arabia. I said keep just because he isn't a left back. It depends how Mourinho wants to play. He's a left wing back, so if it's a four back, he's not going to be played. Matias Vigna is going to be playing that one. He was up next. He's the natural left back in this. Spinazzola's the natural left wing back. I did say keep. They will get a lot of money from Saudi Arabia if he is sold there. So that might be the only other way this happens because they can sell him by another good left back and not wing back. But it just depends how Mourinho wants to play next season. I know he sticks to his guts every year and likes to play how he likes to play, but that one's an eh. for me
Mm.
personally. Keep.
Spinazzola had Spinazzola just seems like he hasn't been that same player since the ACL injury.
No,
He's
I mean,
kind
I
of
agree, but if they're playing with a five back, you got to keep him. If they're not, you got to sell him.
yeah.
It's like,
Oh, I'd keep him.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
wish he was still that player. And
Oh
then
yeah.
Vigna, I've seen rumors that he might be going back to Bournemouth permanently because he's
He,
coming back from loan.
yeah, I said he came back from loan from Bournemouth, but Bournemouth did not want to buy him. This was about yesterday, 2 days ago.
Oh, okay.
So obviously the rumors could pick up again, but that was only one thing I saw as well from Vigna.
He scored
Um,
against Spurs.
he's linked with Spurs.
No, he scored against Spurs.
Oh, well, I'm sorry for your loss. Um, moving on to right backs, we have Zeki Selik. I said keep 3 years left on his contract. Solid right back. He's in his prime. I think that was a no-brainer.
Mhm.
Um, and Rick Karsdorp. Um, I said sell. He isn't a part of the plans, and if the deal goes through with Skamaka from West Ham, he's part of that deal to send him over to West Ham and bring in Skamaka. So I just said sell, get him out. If you can get Skamaka for him, get Skamaka.
Yeah, that seems like a good move.
All right, moving on to
Especially
the
like that.
yeah, moving on to the midfielders. We're gonna start with the DMs. Brian Cristante, he just signed, so just keep him. Nemanja Matic, I said keep. He's old, but he can be a solid bench player for injuries. He's had experience, like, internationally. He's not worth much at all. He's 34. Um, but I say keep for, like, cup runs, keep for injuries, keep for domestic league if you're further on in the Europa League, if you make it that far. Um,
He's a Mourinho player.
exactly. And Ibrahima Dorbo, I just had sell. Already expected to be sold, not part of plan. Moving on to the center mids, we have Awar from Olympic Lyon. He just signed. I was going to say it looks quality. I'm excited to see him play in Serie A.
Mm.
Eduardo Bove. I said sell. He can be flipped for major profit. He's already linked with many teams. Um, Upwards of 40 million, I believe, is what some estimates are saying. Those are rumors, again. But with the amount of CDM, center mids, and cams that I'm seeing, to sell him and try and get somebody else in if you can make a decent amount of profit off of him. Alright, Nikola Zalewski, the only left mid, the only natural left mid on the team. I said sell. He doesn't fit the squad. Nottingham Forest are keen to buy him right now, and he can also make upwards of 40 million if he is sold. If negotiations are right, obviously. And the way Roma play, they don't use left mids or right mids. They use more wingers, second strikers. So he can obviously transition, but if you can make that money off of him, you should make that money off of him.
I think it's important to note too that Roma were having some issues with financial fair play, I believe, or it was debt. One of the two.
I looked that up, and they just recently settled it. They had to pay a £5 million loan, not pounds,
Mhm.
euros loan. Not, I'm messing up all my words today. They had to pay €5 million, and they're settled. They
And
settled
a
it now.
fine.
They can buy
Yeah.
players without restrictions now.
Yes. So I did see that they were trying to get rid of some players for that reason. So they've already sold a few this summer, but one of those names that came out was so. I know someone you're going to talk about in the future, one of the strikers, because they can get a large amount of money for them.
Oh
So
yeah,
they're looking to sell a big name player. A lot of teams in Syria are due to the financial state of the league.
yeah,
But so he could be a player that be like you said could go to a Nottingham Forest for 40 million because that'll just really help balance the books over at Roma.
yeah. All right, moving on to the only actual center attacking mid listed on the team, Pellegrini. I said keep. He's basically in his prime right now, and he'd be great for another European run. He can. He's played center forward. He's played cam. He's played center mid. I think he's versatile enough to play he wouldn't be a pure center mid, but he'd be more attacking. But he can play in that role if need be. But I said just keep. Moving on to left wing, we have El Sharawi. I said keep. 2 years left on his contract. He's only linked with Saudi Arabia. Um, he's he's streaky when he plays. When he's on, and when he's not, he's not. Um, I would use him for like cup runs and whatnot because you can use streaky players in those situations. Like domestically, if you're trying to get top six, you can't use streaky players like that if you want to stay consistent. And if you had a good run in the cup and you have a good European game coming up, you could sub him on, start him, making me show some gleam. But that's what I said with him. Um, right winger Ola Solbakken just keep to sign in January. Paulo Dybala in all capital letters. I said keep. He's worth money. He's only worth 30 million. He's not the most expensive player on the team. It's only
Very
because he's
injury prone.
very injury prone. Yeah. But if there's a quality second striker backup signed that could replace him in like injury crisis, like last season Roma didn't have a backup for Dybala. They just put on Pellegrini or not Pellegrini. They put on Bellotti with Abraham, which obviously did not work. But if they've tried to find a quality second striker to use when Dybala's out, I would say we'll keep him either way. But you want to keep Dybala. He shows quality when he's on that pitch, but the problem is he's hardly on it anymore. Moving on to the center forwards, Tammy, Sell. Their club's linked with them. He's right now he's injured right now. Yes, he probably won't get sold right now. He probably won't even be ready to play until January window anyway. So I would say just sell in the January window then, when he's fit. He will be sold for less money, but he had an awful season this year in the Serie A. Yeah, they need to get wages off the books. They need to get money. I was just said sell, and last but not least, Andrea Bellotti. I also said sell. He was awful, even as a backup all season for Roma.
So you want to sell both their strikers?
I do. If Scamacca comes in, they're only short one, and with the other players I said that they can sell, I believe they can sign like an older, experienced guy for like 10 million that can be a backup, the same way Bellotti was, but he had better backup than Bellotti.
I bet they end up keeping Bellotti just because
They probably
for
do,
a
but
backup,
yeah.
perfect for what they need.
Yeah.
They're not even in the Champions League yet, so it's hard to convince the striker to come in to be backup. Spurs have always had that issue.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, interesting. You know, it is a weird squad. When every time I look at it, I think
Yeah.
Awar is going to be a great signing. You know, a few years ago he's linked to Arsenal big time for about 50, 60 million. It's interesting to see that his market value is only 13 million now, so he's kind of struggled over the past year or two.
I think that's a
His
steal, though.
peak market value was 55, and it's fallen off. That was back in 2020, March 2020. It's kind of consistently fallen off. So I hope he finds his form for sure.
Oh, yeah. For that
And
value, and if he finds his form, that's a steal from what he was able to
and,
do.
and I'm jealous of all these guys because they get to live play in Rome. So
Yeah.
I
True.
think Tammy does come back to England too. I wonder who he comes to. I wonder if he comes to like a mid-level team.
It's
Like
definitely not Chelsea. It's definitely
no,
not Chelsea.
they need a striker.
I would say he
But
might do good in honestly, in like a Bournemouth.
he's way better than Bournemouth.
He's way better, but I'm saying a system like that, like how they play. They always like to send it into like a target man in the box. Like I would think he would be good.
Yeah, I think he'd also fit a side like West Ham really well.
Yeah, true. Actually, but West Ham is such a situation. Throw him in the West Ham deal. Get Scamacca and just trade. Get some more
That'd be
money.
a loss for Roma. Yeah,
Well, you get money in too with Scamacca.
true. True. Interesting. Do you think they get Champions League?
Roma? I'm gonna say not to put pressure on the players, but it all
don't think
depends
they're
on
gonna
Dybala
get
and Awar.
Yeah,
Defensively,
like
I
trade
think
players.
they've been consistent defensively all past season. It was their attack that just could never seem to score.
You don't think they're going to have the third season syndrome for Mourinho?
They very well could. I really hope they don't, though. I'm really starting to love Roma. The way that I was gonna say the way they played, but honestly, um, the last like 2 games of the season, where they just stalled teams out so they can get another Europa League spot, was very dreadful to watch. But other than those
Mourinho
last two
for you.
games, oh yeah, I know. Other than the last 2 games, it was fun to watch, especially when Dybala was on the field. And from what I've seen, Dybala's staying. Not
Yeah.
many people are in links with him right now. He's too injury prone. But I don't care if they make Champions League based on the domestic league, but I want them to win the Europa. So Champions League based on that, but I don't. But I want them to get a European spot nonetheless, whether that's Conference League, Europa League again, or Champions League.
Hmm.
I
I think
still
I'll
want
end
them
up
to
in
be in
Europe.
that top seven.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, I'll move on to Napoli here. The Scudetto winners after, I think, 23 years.
It was like 30 years or something like that, wasn't it?
And this team wasn't supposed to be successful going into this season. They had sold their best players like Insigne, Mertens, Koulibaly. Um, they weren't supposed to be good, but they ended up making some really shrewd signings to replace those players and ran away with the league and played really good, exciting football. And just that's what Serie A is all about. They were Napoli. They were the Napoli that we should be. So going into this year, you're going to want to keep most of the squad. I'll tell you that from the top. But there are players who haven't been there very long who are going to think for themselves, "I want to move to the Premier League to go play with City. I want to move to Germany to go play for Bayern Munich." They're going to go try to get
Yeah,
those top teams
the egos
because,
of the team.
and they're also not too invested in the team. If you've only been there for a year, you're not going to stick around for that long. So
Yeah,
um, we'll start at the top. I have about a few less players than you. They're only really going to hit the main guys who made appearances this year. Well, Um, we'll start in goal. Merritt's the goalie. He's 26. He's you know he's worth 18 million. You're not gonna you're not gonna make him a backup after he wins the Scudetto. And right now, bro, Napoli don't have a lot of money at the moment. So I would say just leave goalie as it is. Keep Merritt in there. Um, but if you can find an upgrade in the market, go and get him. Like I said, these teams aren't going to have a lot of money. Um, so I think he stays, and he stays as the backup. So moving on to center back, the big name Kinman J. Um, you should keep him. Do everything you can to keep him. He's 26. He's entering his prime for a center back. He used to be linked to Spurs all the time. We didn't buy him. Napoli did, and now he's one of the best center backs in the world. Um, you're not going to be able to keep him. He's not like I was talking about at the top. He's not invested in Napoli. He wants to go. He's the player that's going to leave Napoli out of all the big names. Kvaratskhelia and Oshiman, like this guy's the most likely to leave Kim Min Jae. So right now he's rumored to. I had it up. I'm seeing Newcastle. I'm seeing Bayern Munich. I'm seeing. Let me pull it up. Chelsea and Manchester United,
no Spurs
all
though.
interested. No, not
No
anymore. They can
Spurs
afford him
and
anymore.
Son. I would think he might be interested in Son at least. That even if that's the only aspect of Spurs.
Yeah, I think Sun like personally recommended him once or
I
twice,
did hear
but we're
about
like
that. You might have been the one that told me that.
we didn't want to pay 15 million. We only wanted to pay like 8 or something. And the deal didn't go through. Now he's one of the best center backs in the world. But yeah, so he'll sell. So they'll have to move on to sign a new center back. The replacement that's being linked right now is Kawar from Arsenal, the Polish center back. I think that could be a bit of a shrewd move to bring in as a backup. But I think Ostegard, the current backup they bought from Brighton a year or so ago, he's 23 years old. He's only worth 7 million on transfer market, but he was bought from Brighton liked him enough to buy him for 5 million. Or sorry, 110,000 from Mold in 2018. They sold him to Napoli for 5 million at the beginning of last summer. What that tells me, based on the players Brighton buys, this guy's got a lot of potential. And Napoli saw that, and Napoli made good buys, and they bought him. So I wonder if he gets promoted to the role playing next to Barahami.
We're all gonna make bad.
Amir?
We're gonna pronounce names bad.
Yeah.
It's completely fine. I
Rahami.
butchered so many names already on the
Yeah.
Roma side.
So I think those will be the starting two center backs, and I think they'll keep Juan Jesus too, and they'll bring in a new center back, possibly to Ward there. And then at left back, well, both the fullbacks, I'm going to say keep Oliveira, keep Rui, keep Di Lorenzo. Right now, there's not any rumors for any new fullbacks. Your fullbacks are Oliveira's 25, you just bought him a summer ago. Rui's been there for about 5 years, actually bought from Roma. No point in getting rid of him as your backup. And Di Lorenzo, he wears the captain's armband. He's 29 years old.
Yeah, usually the captain's
worth
gonna
25
stay.
million. Yeah, he's going to stay,
Yeah.
especially after winning Scudetto. So I'll move on to the midfield here. The big talking point here is Lobatka, the Slovenian CDM. He's been at Napoli for quite a while now. Let me check that. He's been there. Only 2020. He's bought from Celta Vigo. For some reason, I thought he'd been there longer.
Still a few
Only
years.
90, yeah, bought for 21 million, but his value this year has skyrocketed, just being a really important part of that team, like a ticking point at the base of the midfield. And he's the one that's linked away currently out of the rest of the team, and he's heavily linked to Saudi Arabia.
Many
So,
players,
Saudi Arabia.
many players are being linked to Saudi right now.
Yeah. So Babatka, I'd say if you can get 50, 60 mil, you sell. That way you can keep, you're bringing in
50,
maybe
60
100
million after buying for 20?
Yeah, 2 years,
Ooh.
3 years ago. I'd say you sell him and Kim and Jay going. You have 120 million at that point. You can reinvest, and you're good financially.
You buy four
But you still
different
need to push that
players.
outside.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
Napoli. They're smart with their money. You buy four different players, you can make it work still.
So moving on, Anguissa, Frank Anguissa. I know there's a middle name for him. Fulham CDN, who our favorite podcast ranks FC, absolutely adored him, and I really liked him at Fulham, and he's really got his chance at a big team, and he's absolutely shined. I'd say keep. His market value is 40 million, but he's so important on that team. Moving on, a player that's not listed on transfer market, but played for them last season, Ndombele.
Yep.
I'd say let him go. Let him go. There's no point bringing him back. He didn't play enough minutes. He was just
He was just on
bench.
loan there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just on loan.
For 1 year or two?
One.
One, okay.
I'd say just you don't really need it, but try and get someone else on loan.
Yeah.
Keep moving forward. Zelensky, his market value is actually down, but that's because he's 29. So I think that's why it's down. He's been at Napoli since 2016. He's staying. He's that Napoli old guard now. He's not going anywhere. He's probably Poland's second best player behind Lewandowski.
Oh, not Christensen though? Or no, sorry. Christensen is not Polish. I was gonna say Click as a joke, but never mind.
Yeah, not Click, who plays for DC United.
Yeah.
Forget watching Messi in the MLS. You can watch Click now.
Click versus Messi. Ooh.
Yeah,
That's the true old guard right there.
for real. Next one, Almas. He's only 23. I thought he was older. North Macedonia.
Yeah,
probably their best
real
player.
quick. When I was looking at Roma names too, looking at the names, I thought they were all older than what I thought,
Yeah.
and then I clicked on the age, and I was like, 5 years younger, some of them, than they were.
Yep. I'd say keep. No point. You're already getting a decent amount of money. As I said, you don't want to sell your best players. Keep Almas, and then that's it for the midfield. Going on to wingers. This is a tough one to
Here it
pronounce.
comes. Here it comes.
Kavara
Just say
Ketskelia.
Kvaradonna. That's what everybody's saying nowadays.
Kavaradana. Yeah, yeah. Kavaradana. Spurs were linked to him.
Spurs are linked to him right now.
No, we were before
You know what's
they
crazy?
bought him. There
Leeds were
were.
also linked with them.
I know a bunch of teams were, and we should have bought him. Uh, Fabulous, fabulous player. So good at taking your man on. Keep. Could be a
Yeah.
future Ballon d'Or winner. I said keep unless you get $100 million bid, but
To be
I'm looking
fair,
at
he
that
might
now.
get $100 million bid.
Exactly. So like 120.
It's
Moving on.
crazy.
Lozano, who's currently hurt, 27 years old. He seems like he should be younger than 27, but I guess he has been around. This is the one forward player. I'm saying sell if you can. Get a bit of money and go buy a new winger because you have Politano as the backup there, who's just as serviceable, and then you can go and sign a new winger to be that third person rotation on the wing.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then strikers, pretty simple. I'll start with Raspadori and Simeone. They were both brought in coming into the season respectively from Hellas Verona and Sassuolo, and they're both perfectly serviceable backups. And with the commitment of Champions League and all the cup competitions this year, they'll get minutes behind the big man Oshiman. And Osimhen, if you get right now, apparently the asking price is 180 million.
180?
That's the asking price.
Okay, no. So they want to keep him because nobody's going to bid that.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
He came out the other day saying that he wants to stay in Napoli, but football players always say what the fans want to hear.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with Osimhen, and I know so much about this because it's the same thing with Kane. There are a lot of teams that need strikers right now: Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid.
You
They
said
all
Real
need
Madrid twice, to be fair.
strikers. Did I say Real Madrid? Real
Yeah.
Madrid, Chelsea, Manchester United, Bayern Munich,
Yeah.
and low key PSG. They
Very
all need a
heavily
striker.
PSG right now, actually.
Oh, they still have Mbappe. Mbappe goes
Well,
Real Madrid. Real Madrid.
Mbappe's iffy right now.
Yeah. So all those teams need a striker. And notice how I've said a few times, Serie A doesn't have a lot of money right now. If a $180 million bid comes in from Osimhen, United wants to get taken over, or Todd Bowley, does Todd Bowley spend the money? Bayern Munich trying to afford $100 million, some random player. You're gonna sit there as Napoli. Here you go. We've got Raspadori. We've got Simeone. We still have Kvaratskhelia.
Honestly, I
So
feel like anything north of 120 you should at least consider.
yeah, yeah.
Not saying
He's
go for
probably
it, but
he's probably the best gettable striker right now. The way I
yeah,
like to
like
phrase it.
120 million, you can still sign, which is crazy to say, like a $70 million striker as backup, and still have
Yep.
50 million left over to do whatever you want with. And that's a really
So,
good striker you can still get for 70 million.
but they probably want to win the title again. The best way to do that is to keep Osimhen,
No,
keep
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lobanga, keep all these players, but you got to find a way to kick on. So, really quickly, I want to talk about who they were rumored to, uh, just because I think that's important when we're talking about selling.
Yeah,
Um,
there were only two players with Roma, and I already mentioned.
so there's Kang In Lee, who is another Korean, currently plays for Malcora. Mal- how do you pronounce that?
Just,
Malcora.
there you go.
Malacora. Yeah. Um, he's currently linked. He's a guy that's also the Spurs subreddit loves. I don't think we're gonna be signing him now that we signed Solomon. But he's the kind of player that we're willing to take a man on, like a Lozano replacement, in my opinion, if they sold. And there's Kawar, as I mentioned earlier, that Polish center back from Arsenal, who I think would be the Kim Min Jae replacement. And then there is Lazar Samardisic, who plays for Udinese, is German, and he's worth about 15 million, and he's kind of heavily rumored, so it'll be interesting to see if he comes. But apparently, looking at this, Inter Milan's also interested. So, but another attacking midfielder. Napoli to have in their ranks. And they have a lot of them. So, yeah,
Nice,
that's
nice,
my review of Napoli.
nice. Very good.
Thank you.
All right. So now that we finished up both Roma and Napoli, I feel like we should pick one of the next leagues that we are gonna do. So we are doing the Premier League last. We've already settled on that. We just did
Yeah.
Serie A, so that leaves Bundesliga, La Liga, and I think we agreed on Ligue 1. Just
Yeah.
even though I don't know, they're considered top 7 right now, but that's what we
That's
settled
okay.
on. Um,
Okay.
so what are you thinking?
I have no idea. I picked this one.
So you want to put this all on me, huh?
Yeah.
Um, I'm not thinking Bundesliga. Hmm. I'm kind of thinking La Liga just because of how crazy it is with all. Just because Spanish players bounce around so much in that league, I feel like there might be
Hmm.
some. I think we should go La Liga.
All right.
All right, and
I want to do Atletico Madrid then.
you want to do Atletico? Let me just look at the league real quick to see if there's any um, teams that I'm forgetting about that I might want to do.
Some interesting ones could be Real Betis,
Actually,
Seville, Valencia,
I'm thinking either
Villarreal.
Sevilla or Villarreal. I'm gonna do Villarreal.
Okay. I'll do Sevilla then. I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, because Sevilla are also
All over the place.
the old director of football from Leeds United is actually now at Sevilla, which is crazy.
I thought he said Valencia.
No, he's at Sevilla.
Uh, I'm sure you'll love me talking about him then.
Oh, I'm gonna love you talking about him. Good old
Yeah.
Victor Orta.
All right.
Alright, so that
Perfect.
settles it. I'm gonna be doing Villarreal, and you're gonna be doing Sevilla. I kind of like it though. We're not choosing like, well, I guess besides Napoli that you just did, which is that's an exception. Napoli is Napoli, but
Yeah.
honestly, I'm just happy we're not doing Barcelona or Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. Yeah. No. I mean, like the next one, we're not going to do Bayern, or maybe
Yeah,
one of us do Dortmund, but we're not going to do
Dortmund.
Bayern.
I don't even want to take up the Dortmund. It's great. They got so much going on in that club. They're buying players or selling players. They're just profit club. I don't want to do a profit club.
Yeah.
Like I
That'd
feel
be
like
interesting.
Eintracht Frankfurt might be a fun thing to do for the Bundesliga,
Bayer
but
Leverkusen.
yeah, or Bayer Leverkusen, something like that, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All
All
right.
right. Well, that summarizes it. We'll be back next week with a Sevilla versus Villarreal.
All right.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Talking about Lamella and Victor Orta. What could be better?
I don't know if anything can be better.
Exactly. All
All
right.
right. Bye.
Bye.